Thanks for listening to today's episode of Medical Device Global Market Access by Pure Global. Today we are discussing a significant update for manufacturers of hemodialysis devices. The US FDA's final guidance on pre-market notification, or 510(k) submissions for hemodialysis blood tubing sets. This document modernizes the agency's expectations, replacing a brief guidance that had been in place since 1984. It provides a clear, comprehensive roadmap for demonstrating that a new or modified device is substantially equivalent to a legally marketed predicate device. While the guidance was issued in mid-2024, we are focusing on its full implementation and what it means for submissions leading up to the July 23, 2026 milestone. By this date, we anticipate that adherence to these detailed recommendations will be standard practice and essential for an efficient review process. Any manufacturer planning a 510(k) submission in the near future must treat this guidance as the new baseline for their technical file. The core of this guidance centers on robust performance data. The FDA has outlined specific expectations for descriptive information and testing to ensure the safety and effectiveness of these critical devices. Your 510(k) submission should now include a highly detailed device description with engineering drawings, a list of all components, and a comprehensive table of all materials used, especially those in the blood contact path. This sets the stage for the performance testing section, which is broken down into several key areas. For mechanical performance, the FDA recommends a suite of tests, referencing consensus standards like ISO 8637. This includes evaluating tensile strength of the tubing and connectors, security of connections under pressure, leakage, flow rate accuracy, and resistance to kinking. The goal is to prove the device can withstand the mechanical stresses of a typical hemodialysis procedure without failure. Beyond mechanical integrity, the guidance places strong emphasis on biocompatibility and chemical characterization. Given that these sets have direct and prolonged contact with a patient's blood, this is a critical safety consideration. Manufacturers must conduct a biocompatibility evaluation in line with ISO 10993-1 and the FDA's corresponding guidance. This involves assessing endpoints relevant to blood-contacting devices, such as cytotoxicity, sensitization, irritation, acute systemic toxicity, and hemocompatibility. Furthermore, the FDA now expects a thorough chemical assessment, including data on extractables and leachables, to identify and quantify any potentially harmful substances that could migrate from the device materials into the blood. This often requires close collaboration with material suppliers to obtain the necessary information, and failure to provide adequate data here is a common reason for review delays. Sterilization and shelf life are also addressed in detail. Your submission must include a complete description of the sterilization method, such as ethylene oxide or gamma radiation, and provide validation data demonstrating the chosen method achieves the required sterility assurance level without adversely affecting the device. This includes data on sterilization residuals, like ethylene oxide limits per ISO 10993-7, and results from pyrogenicity testing using the bacterial endotoxins test, or LAL test. To support the proposed shelf life, you must provide data from stability testing that demonstrates the device's packaging integrity and functional performance are maintained throughout its labeled expiry date. Finally, the guidance details labeling requirements. This includes the instructions for use, which must be clear and comprehensive, as well as package labels. Key elements include explicitly stating the device is for single use only, providing any relevant warnings or contraindications, and ensuring compliance with the FDA's Unique Device Identification, or UDI system. So what practical actions should your team take now? First, we recommend conducting a detailed gap analysis. Compare your current technical file and testing data against every recommendation in this new guidance to identify any shortfalls. Second, engage with your material suppliers immediately. Begin the conversation about obtaining the detailed chemical characterization and biocompatibility data that the FDA now expects. Third, review and update your internal testing protocols to ensure they align with the consensus standards referenced in the guidance, such as ISO 8637 and ISO 10993. Finally, regulatory and project managers should proactively budget for any additional testing that may be required for future submissions. Planning for this now, can prevent significant delays and unexpected costs down the line. If navigating these new FDA expectations or preparing a 510(k) submission seems daunting, Pure Global is here to help. We specialize in global market access and can assist with regulatory strategy, technical dossier preparation, and navigating complex submission requirements. For more resources, please check the description for a link to our free AI tools and regulatory database. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.